You're good to go.
Okay, it is 7 o'clock. We will start the January 27th, 2026 Kelley County Board of Zoning Appeals meeting. First item is to call the meeting to order and a roll call, please. Brent?
Kim Kurtzessler.
Here.
Kelley Sheiss.
Here.
Danny Wilkinson.
Here.
Joe Wolf.
Here.
Doug Wright.
Here.
And with that, I would like to welcome Kim. She is taking Jack's place on the BZA. Jack is moving to an alternate at this time. And we want to thank Jack for his service. Has it been a year and a half, 2 years?
2 or 3, I forget how many
Three?
it's been on.
Okay. So, all right. Next item is election of officers. The first office to be filled is the chair. We will take nominations.
Second.
Aye. We have a nomination, a second. Are there any other nominations?
Move the nominations closed.
Second.
Move nominations to be closed. So I guess I shall serve as chair for another year. No, we have to vote. So all those in favor, signify by raising your right hand. Aye. All those opposed? Passes.
I nominate Kelley.
Second.
For vice chair.
I move nominations closed.
Second. Why let him?
Kelley's been nominated. There's been a second. It's been moved that the nominations be closed. All those in favor of the nominations being closed, signify by raising your right hand. Anybody opposed? Nominations are closed. Kelley, congratulations.
Thanks, boss.
No, we don't use that word.
Master
So,
chair.
all right. Before us, we have a copy of the previous meeting minutes from December 23rd, 2025. If everybody's had a chance to look at those and that, entertaining a motion to accept.
Move the minutes from December 23rd, 2025 be accepted as presented.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion to accept. All those in favor, signify by raising your right hand. All opposed? Motion carries.
One extension.
I got it.
All right. Next item of business is the oath to the witnesses. If you are here to speak on a variance, a special exception, or any business tonight, or have a question, or if you're speaking for or against, please stand at this time and our legal counsel, Liz Deckard, will swear you in.
Will you please raise your right hand? Do you swear or affirm that any statements you make before the board tonight will be the truth, if so state I do? You be seated.
Okay. All right. We have some old business. First, I would like to apologize for my appearance. I just got off at 6 o'clock tonight, from work. So things seem a little bit odd. I'm still trying to get the snow out from between my ears today. So, all right. An old business. what we have is 25W Variance 25, Vision Homes. The petitioner is requesting a development standard variance to allow for placement of 4 off-premise construction signs and directional signs as part of Arrowhead Ridge subdivision at the north end of Sheldon Road. Staff?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We'll get these slides together here. Okay. So this being old business, I won't go through too much detail, but Tim being new, I'll probably go a little bit more than I normally would as a continued item. It was continued from last month, as you might recall, due to the split vote and Jack Green having to abstain due to having family involved as one of the property owners on one of the properties. What this is a sign variance for proposing to locate 4 off-premise construction signs in 4 locations around Smith Township, referencing the construction Arrowhead Ridge subdivision. We could consider them billboards, however, construction signs is a much narrower application of the code. Billboards is a very broad terminology and could allow for quite a few different things and would necessitate far more variances. With that, construction signs, if they were on premises, are allowed up to 32 square feet. The petitioner is saying that they would not exceed 32 square feet. The intention is to announce and direct to Arrowhead Ridge subdivision. That is, again, in line with the purpose of construction signs to advertise the purpose or the construction and development of the property on which they're located. I won't go through that code component other than the standards are listed there, and again, they are proposing to be compliant for each one of those standards. NDOT approval would be required for sites 1 and 4. The petitioner did follow up to my comment last month that site 1, which is off of 33, likely would not be permittable, and NDOT also agreed that that would not be permittable. So it's actually down to 3 sites that are being proposed. 1 at the northeast corner of 550 and Anderson Road, 1 located at Anderson Road and Sheldon Road, and 1 at the southeast corner of Blue Lake and State Road 205. The one at Anderson Road and Sheldon Road is immediately south of the entrance to Arrowhead Ridge subdivision. Sheldon Road was until Arrowhead was built, was a dead-end road. So this map shows you the proposed locations. Again, location 1 is off the table. Location 2, 3, 4, and Arrowhead Ridge is right here. This is Anderson Road going east-west and going up into Busco. Closer view of locations 2 and 3, highlighted in blue, is the subdivision in question. They do have 2 areas of frontage, one at the south end. Basically, as you come up Sheldon Road, you make a slight turn, you veer a little bit into Horseshoe Bay subdivision. So there is a proposed entrance in some future section here, so there's some frontage, and there's a common area along the north side of Sheldon Road here as well. So location 1, again off the table, location 4 for reference if we need to look at it. Review criteria, I won't belabor this too much. It does, in staff's opinion, it really comes down to the practical difficulty and finding specific practical difficulties that require both the number of signs being requested, being 3 signs, being that they have 2 frontages. By right, they'd only really be allowed 2 if it was on premises. And then also the fact that it's off premises. That's the big variance of the 2. So I would say that because they do have somewhat limited frontage as opposed to most normal quote unquote subdivisions, say Thresher's Ridge or Turtle Meadow, which is the current section of Thresher's Ridge. There's a very large amount of perimeter road there. So that's more of what we see frequently. This has no significant amount of frontage on a existing perimeter county road, only on Sheldon Road. So I would suggest that there may be some sort of practical difficulty related to that. Again, though, the number of signs, I hesitate to say that there would be a strong practical difficulty with that one. The other thing to think about is precedent setting in the future. While we don't have very many subdivisions going on in the county, we could have a few coming up. And so if we set a precedent that is not directly related to this site, or excuse me, if we don't have a practical difficulty directly related to the site, we may wind up setting a precedent in the future for other subdivisions that have perhaps more frontage or other situations, but we have to be very cautious of how we word any sort of approval or denial as well, based on that. And then finally, I think last time we talked largely as a group of signs, because the findings for each one of the signs may be different, or for example, one sign may be better because it has more traffic available to a 205, maybe a better road to have a sign on it versus 550 or Anderson. I don't know how that might shape up. I would suggest that you do consider it at least, each sign individually and the merits of each sign individually, so that we can have that discussion. The in motion, if it looks like you want to take it as a lump, that's fine. Do whatever you want to on that, but I do think it would be worthwhile to contemplate each one individually. So with that, any questions for, let me make sure, yeah, didn't have any conditions. Any questions for me?
Seeing none, thank you, Nathan. So at this time, we will have the petitioner come forth and state what they want to do with the variance and that, and everything that's happened since the last meeting.
Yeah. Ben Lovell, Vision Homes. I want to say, Nathan, Brent, your team, thanks for the hard work you guys have put in. You guys have gone above and beyond helping us understand all this, so thank you for that, guys. They did a really good job, Nathan, Brent, in the staff report of explaining. I got permission from NDOT today that site number 4, which is the one on 205, they said as long as you're following county ordinances, it is not in their jurisdiction, or they said we're not concerned about it because it's not within sight lines at 33. You guys are cleared. I only say that to be if we're going to consider these on an individual basis. I got a verbal confirmation from the permitting department today. 4 o'clock phone call, just right in the nick of time. I would love if we could consider these on an individual basis. I think there's arguments that are a little different for each. The one that is on Anderson and 550, that would be a smaller sign. That's not going to be 32 square feet. Our intent is more once you get there, Arrowhead Ridge is this way, and that would be the only purpose of it. It wouldn't be like the ones that you see on your staff report that is, public sewer, the whole grand one on that. We think that we fulfill the requirements for the sign variance, the 3 things that we need to clear. And the practical difficulty that we are stating is just with it being a half a mile off the road, it only having a sight line from Sheldon, we would just ask, is there any chance that we can move it just onto Anderson? Ideally, we just don't want to put it next to people's houses. If we could put them in the farm fields, which is the one on Anderson and the one on 250, that would be great. So we're just, it's a little bit of fulfilling practical difficulties, and also just ideally not putting it next to people's houses as well.
You said 2 and 4 would be on farm fields. Where would 3, the Anderson?
Sorry,
Ridge?
3 and 4 are on farm fields.
Okay.
2 is on a farm field. That's still Lakeview Farms.
Yeah.
But that one is well, I should say that one is a farm field too. I don't know if you've. It's the Anderson and I don't know if you know that intersection.
That's weird.
It's just I shouldn't say it's a weird one, but it's just kind of you kind of are caught in the in between a little bit. And that one is the one that's directional. Just hey, this way.
In the interim, since our last meeting, have you spoken with any of the neighbors that had some concerns and objections?
No one has reached out to us about any objections that we knew of. Nothing that was brought up last time that continued on concerns about the signs.
Okay.
I can say that.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any questions other questions for the petitioner? All right, thank you, Brett. We will move along and we will, at this time, open the public hearing. So, for anybody to speak for or against or who has questions.
Hello. My name is Kirk Bratmiller. I live at 4637 North Sheldon Road. So Kim wasn't here last time, so I do want to go over the economic issue a little bit. Nathan, would it be fair to say that an economic reason would be for the sole purpose of making money? Is that a fair assessment of what economic reason is?
Signs typically are related to business activities which are related to make money. I'm not sure
Well,
what you're asking here.
when we spoke
related to
before,
what-
you said that when you're talking about an economic reason, you're saying for something to make more money.
Right. So, Liz, where I think this is headed is a variance, and the cases that you talked about last time.
I don't want anything to do with those cases. I have a different argument.
Oh, okay. Well, economic development or economic reasons only. So I can make more money if I get a variance. For example, variances should not be granted only on that ground. It should be related to something, and our bar is practical difficulties related to the property, related to the land, related to the neighborhood conditions, something specific to that area. Just simply because you make more money because you get a variance is not sufficient.
Okay,
So in
so
that one case,
yeah.
and I know you don't want to get up,
No,
but this
I
is just a
don't
way to
have any interest in
distinguish it.
that.
In that one case, the business was wanting the variance to be able to stay open and keep people employed, and they did not list any practical difficulties with the specific use. But I mean, every business who is seeking a variance is doing it that's why businesses are open to
Okay.
make money.
So you mentioned Thresher's Ridge and how they did have frontage on 33. So would you say that Thresher's Ridge paid a premium for that frontage on 33?
They don't have frontage on 33. They have frontage on 2 perimeter county roads.
Well, there's 2 separate ones, so Thresher's Ridge would have been the original. and the
But I
second
was talking about Turtle Meadow.
Okay. But just for
the current one.
yeah, just would you say when Thresher's Ridge went in, they did pay a premium for that land on 33?
The parcel was large enough that it included those perimeter roads.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So that would be. So what I'm trying to get at is is land more expensive for having frontage on 205 or 33 than if it did not? So when you originally bought the land, you are not paying that upfront cost. You are paying just the cost of the land without those 2 visibility issues. What I'm trying to get at is profit.
I think that's your argument to make to the board.
Right.
I don't
I'm
think
just
that's a question.
okay. But all right. Anyway, so what I'm saying is profit is more than just revenue. It's revenue minus costs. The petitioner did not pay the cost to have 33 and 205 as frontage. So again, this goes back to it's an economic issue. This is to make more money. That's what I'm trying to get at with the economic issue part of it. I'll move on from there because I kind of beat that dead horse last time. We'll go on to the precedent. It took a long time to actually get out what the practical difficulty was of this plan. Nathan's one of the smartest people I've met, boasting to you a little bit. But for him to sit here and stammer like he did last time for 20 to 30 seconds trying to come up with what the practical difficulty actually was of the property, that's way out of character. So the practical difficulty is extremely weak is what I'm trying to get at. You're trying to say because you don't have land on 33 or 205 or 30 if you were in Columbia City that all of a sudden that's a problem. Like, everybody wants those spots. Why do you get it just because you have a friend near it? That doesn't make any sense. I mean, if you wanted a billboard on 205, you can pay for one. But these are also 3 agriculture spots, and if we're talking about billboards, you need to have industrial land or you need to have general business. Those are all farms. That doesn't make any sense why you would put that there. So allowing variance in this case would weaken the zoning ordinance, because if you're putting a weak practical difficulty, or you don't have a practical difficulty, a reason why, or an unknown reason, you can just sidestep the zoning ordinance whenever you feel like it. And this goes well outside of signage. Like, we're just talking about signs. There's many other things you can just step outside, and we're setting a precedent for that. If we go back to chapter 8 of this, like, the whole point of chapter 8, according to the very first sentence of chapter 8, is to avoid proliferation of signage and encourage signs to be compatible with the scale and building of the surroundings. We're slapping 3 to 4 signs the size of the front door on farmland all throughout this area here. I mean, if you wanted to go from the west side here of 550 and go to Fort Wayne, you'd have to pass by 1 32-foot sign, 2 32-foot signs, 3 32-foot signs, all just to go to Fort Wayne. It's redundant. It's kind of crazy. So that's kind of what I said. You're setting a bad precedent. You're just allowing these billboards to go up everywhere through the back door, pretty much, for the foreseeable future. I did want to talk about directionality, because we did talk about directional signs after we got off the topic of construction signs. Mr. Wolf and Mr. Wright, I think that were your 2 objections, or 2 things you were pushing, was to have direction signs so you don't have to use GPS. There is something to be said for that. When you do end up somewhere, you do want to see a sign for the place that you wanted to go to. So that completely makes sense. I completely get that. I had a conversation with Nathan about that too, and we're kind of in somewhat of agreement, I do believe. No, yes. Getting a little off here. But if your main concern is the directionality, I think that the standards of the construction sign, 32 square feet, it should be more in line with the directional sign standards, which are 6 square feet. And it also should be in line with 50% of the sign should be pointing to where the place goes and what the address of the place is. So if your concern is directionality, that would be defensible. I mean, you could have 50% of it being the logo, but the size is a giant problem because nobody in the countryside is going to want to see that many signs that are that big. Nathan also, when we were talking, he mentioned that one sign would feel most appropriate. He mentioned that it would be at 550 in Anderson. I do think if we're trying to thread that needle, that would be the most feasible thing to do. But what I would be concerned with is in the future, let's say it's 2030, 2040, and someone looks back and says, hey, they approved an off-site construction sign. Are they going to look at off-site construction sign as a directional sign? Are they going to look at it through the recommendations? Or are they just going to say, hey, it was a construction sign, let's put them everywhere, and that could end up being the future problem. Finally, I do want to say this is phase 1 of 4. So you're talking 2 years on phase 1. Do they then get 2 years on phase 2, 2 years on phase 3, 2 years on phase 4? That's 8 years of these signs. And that, again, is a little much. I think it doesn't take 8 years to figure out where something is. It doesn't take 8 years to tell somebody a construction's going in. So that's kind of my conclusion. Basically, do I think the signs should remain on premise? Yeah, that just leave it alone. There's economic issues with this. It sets a dangerous precedent. It's just, yeah, That you're just kind of trying to retrofit something that was never supposed to be in a spot where it is going, and it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense according to the comprehensive plan or anything in the zoning ordinance. So that's all I had to say. Thank you.
Is there anybody else to speak for or against or has questions on this matter? If not, Mr. Lovell, do you have any rebuttal to this?
Before I rebut, do you guys have any questions on what he might have said that I could maybe bring any clarification to?
Not so much that, and I know I asked this last time,
Sure.
I think too, do you have any plans to put signage right there at the location of the subdivision?
Like the entrance signs?
Yeah,
Like welcome to
well,
Arrowhead, like
That shows basically kind of what this sign here shows.
the plat.
Mhm.
We have not decided yet. If we do, and I don't want to speak for Wayne because we needed to figure out what this ruling was going to be before we knew those plans. It would be deeper into the subdivision. I talked to Nate about that. He said that's a completely separate thing. That's an informational sign. That doesn't classify as the construction sign. That is laid out in the sign chapter 8. That one is more informational. Let's just call that. We treat it almost like an aerial shot of you've now driven into our subdivision. This is what you're looking at. This is if that hopefully that makes sense.
It does. Thank you.
You're welcome. Are there any other questions? And then I can maybe answer.
Now, just for clarification, you said that the state okayed the sign at 205 as long as it went along with county ordinances.
That's correct. Correct.
And that would be a 32-inch or 32 square foot sign, which is a 3x5, correct? Or 3x6?
4x8.
4x8.
Mhm.
So,
And I recognize the precedent that we'd be setting. The argument, to lack of a better word, the argument that we're making is the practical difficulty of being off the road. I think that, and maybe I'm wrong to think this, just because where we'd be putting the sign on both entrances, but especially the south entrance, with it being so close to those houses, and I believe that there's families at those houses. Do I want kids running from behind the sign while people are making that curve? Ideally not. I don't know if I really want to state that, like, oh, watch out for of course watch out for the kids. But but you know what I'm saying? Like, there's just this apprehension of like, man, can I just put it out on the farm fields where we're not dealing with that? And that's the farthest away from Sheldon houses. And so that is kind of the point that I'm trying to make. Is just, hey, I think these are great spots just based off of the practical difficulties. Because you're right, if there was no practical difficulty, I have nothing to stand on tonight. It's just, hey, I just don't think that that's right. And even in those three things, because of safety, if the houses that are next to the signs that we're going to have up, if they wanted to sell their house, if someone drives up and realizes for the a certain amount of time that they're going to have a 4x8 foot sign next to their house, I don't think that the neighbors next to the house are going to be real happy. And that's why I do the farm field, right? Bob Green, Don Shear are saying, of course, go put the signs there. We're happy with it. Go ahead. And so I just think that that's a good decision. But that is where I leave it up to you guys. I'm not trying to, tell you guys what to decide on that. I'm trying to
Of the
remember.
3 locations that remain, is there one in particular that you feel would be most practical?
Mm-hmm. That's a good question. I would say number 2 would probably be last. That's the one that's on Anderson and 550. I think I could make an argument for both of both. I know we're moving I know the numbers are so fuzzy. The 3 and the 4, which are the Blue Lake one and the one on Sheldon. That's a good question, and it's something I've thought a lot about, Kelly. It depends on what we're trying to accomplish, is I think would be the answer to that. And what's interesting is when I've made these points, you could put eggs in one basket for one thing and eggs in the other, where it's, hey, I want to try to be as informational as possible, let people know there's a subdivision. 205 makes sense. To aid in helping getting people to the subdivision, Sheldon and Anderson makes the most sense. We haven't heard anybody come to talk about the 205 one, so I just don't think that there's a ton of pushback with that one. But also the Sheldon one, it's like, hey, we're trying to put it in a good spot. So if that answers your question, I could probably rank them, but it kind of depends on how you guys want to move forward. Even with precedent, it might kind of dictate how we would want to do it. And if I would love to put this on the table as well, if you said, hey, we're okay with the one on Sheldon and Anderson, and we see how 205 makes sense, but we would like for you to make it smaller. Directional signs are its own beast, and so for lack of a better word, guide sign, because a directional sign is something classified different. Just, hey, we understand what you're trying to accomplish on 205, but if you just said Arrowhead Ridge this way and treated it as a temporary sign, we would be okay with that. That's where ideally, the more conversation we can have about this, maybe I know where you guys are maybe a little apprehensive. I can kind of say, hey, that's something that I would love to be able to talk about. Because I understand that there's like what you guys are asking for has we'd be setting a precedent, and I understand that. But so I'm trying to make this as understandable as possible. This is why we're trying to explain why we don't want it on those two locations, and also, and I don't mean to talk your guys' ear off. We've tried to direct all construction traffic to the south entrance, and that's just kind of an agreement we have with the north side of Sheldon. If we have to put the sign on the north side, naturally that's going to drive people that way as well. Just ideally, that's why I've tried to push it down the road, so to speak, of just saying, hey, I don't want to put it in people's backyards, for lack of a better word. Can I just put them out on the two farm fields? So that's why I say last would be that number 2, and number 3 and number 4. But I would say, Kelley, to kind of, as I talk, I would say number 3 is probably number 1, which is the one on Anderson.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Thanks for asking, Kelley. I appreciate it.
Nathan, his signs that he doesn't want on his property are permitted, correct? He just said he didn't want signs on his property, but the neighbors want and visibility for children. Those signs are permitted, is that correct?
Yes. If what is proposed, if 2 of these 32 square foot signs were proposed on their property, on the frontages that they have,
They're permitted.
they would be permitted.
So he don't want a sign on there where it's permitted. He wants 3 signs where it's not permitted. Is that what he's asking for?
In a nutshell, that's the off-premises portion of the variance.
And to clarify, Danny, my hope is that I don't put them those 2 locations, and it would be basically in substitute. Not putting it those 2, can I just put them in these 2 locations in lieu of that, because of the practical difficulty, and just, though I have permission, I just, it's not, like, we also probably don't want to cause a rift with the sign being put in 2 people's backyards, and then go, shoot, how did this happen? And we say, well, we didn't really want these 2 locations, but that's, to your answer, 100%. Like, that is where we are allowed to put them, but we're just asking for any chance that we can put them in these locations, just based off the practical difficulty of it being off of Sheldon instead of a major travel passageway. Yes. And in an ideal situation, we would say, in lieu of those 2 locations, could we do 205 and Sheldon? Just one, because Sheldon, or the 205, no one's really upset about, and then Sheldon in lieu of those 2, so that we could just keep them off of people's backyards. I know I just keep repeating myself. I'm not trying to. That's kind of statement that I'm trying to do.
All right, thank you. Any other questions? Okay. Have a seat. So, if there's no other questions, have a rebuttal. We will bring it back to close the public hearing, bring it back to the board for the board's pleasure. It has been suggested that we split these into 3 different votes.
I would like to recommend that we split them into 3 votes.
All right. I think that would be a good idea too. Any other comments or thoughts from the board on that? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to we will go with a vote for sign 2, which is at the northeast corner of 550 East at Anderson Road intersection.
Can I ask a quick question? So I know you've got construction signs are defined by the zoning code as, and it's got that they need to be removed either within 2 years or when 80% of the lots. Would that apply to each of these as well, or does there need to be a condition attached with it? Because I think we've all seen signs that kind of get a little roughshod and.
Yeah, it would apply, as one of the speakers said, 2 years times say 4 sections,
Okay.
potentially. So yes, it would. If you wanted to attach a condition, you can. If you're concerned maybe about maintenance, you said roughshod. So you can attach anything that you may be concerned, because these aren't on premises. The remoteness of the location may lead you to additional conditions, for example.
Nathan and Brent, this is a little off topic, but I was looking for the video from last month's meeting, and there was no link that I was able to locate on YouTube, so I didn't have the benefit of sitting down and watching the whole meeting. Are these typically uploaded?
Yeah, they're
Every
automatically uploaded.
month?
Yeah, they're automatically available. I mean, it's recording right now as part of the live stream. So as soon as it's done live streaming, it's available as a recording. So you're making me worried.
I can talk to you after the meeting and show you where I went to look.
Okay. Okay. I'm hoping that you maybe went to Whitley County, Kentucky or something instead of Indiana.
No, I didn't. I had the right state.
Okay, good.
I do know.
I know I watched the recording earlier today,
Okay.
so I know it was available. But yeah, we can get together.
Yeah. It's not always the easiest to find exactly where it is on Whitley County's page. So yeah, we'll help you out.
Thank you.
Nathan, can I say one more thing to your question, Kelley?
Mhm.
If that needs to be a condition of the amount of time that we are allowed to have them up, 2 years, 4 years, 6 years, that's absolutely on the table.
Okay, thank you. I guess I would like to suggest that be a condition, just because this is precedent setting for each. If we consider each one separately, that the condition be attached to each one, that signs be maintained and removed within 2 years from the date of issuance, or when 80% of the lots or dwelling units have been sold, whichever occurs first. Which would be right.
Does that 2 years begin from the placement of the sign for the issuance of?
Correct. It is from the placement of the sign.
Okay.
Okay. So we have a condition with this, and we will do we want a motion with this in a second?
Please.
So, okay, we'll proceed with number one if there's no other or number two if there's no other discussion. Since number one was nixed by NDOT, it'd be for a 4x8, 32 square foot sign at the corner of 550 East and Anderson Road, with the condition that the sign be maintained and be removed within 2 years of the date of issuance of the permit, or when 80% of the lots and or dwelling units have been sold, whichever circumstance occurs first. All those in favor?
Were
We
you
need
going to
motion first.
take a motion,
Yeah, yes, you said motion, I'm sorry.
or were you just suggesting that as a motion someone could so move?
I'm just trying to keep things straight as of this time, so.
Okay, it's been a long day.
Been a very long day.
So it's the issuance of the permit as opposed to placement of the sign.
It is allowing the placement of the sign at each location, so we'll vote on each one.
Okay, okay.
And so it would be starting with number 2 at 550 East and Anderson Road.
Right.
Yeah, and if someone would make a motion or
Yeah.
so move what the chair just,
We will
Motion.
entertain motion at this time.
I'll make the motion.
Doug has made a motion to accept with the condition. Now we need a second. If we don't receive a second, the motion will die. I don't like to do this, but I will second the motion. So we have a motion to accept and a second. All those in favor of number 2, the northwest corner of 550 East and Anderson Road intersection, sign with the conditions stated, please signify aye by raising your right hand. All those opposed? Motion dies 3-1. Did you abstain?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm abstaining.
All right.
so you still need to take action on it, so that motion died or was defeated. But you really should take another motion probably to deny this particular sign and take another vote. You can't assume that if one action is defeated that the opposite action would also be approved, because it may be a split vote or maybe other factors in
I
play.
move we deny the request for parcel number 2 for the northeast corner of 550 East and Anderson Road intersections.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Kenny is a second. All those in favor of denying the motion, please raise your right hand. All opposed? Again, 3-1 and 1 abstention. Motion to deny passes on number 2. Moving on to number 3, the south side of Anderson Road at Sheldon Road intersection, which is right across the road from the entrance to Sheldon. We will entertain a motion either way to accept or deny the sign at
I move
location
we deny sign number at location 3, is that correct?
That's correct.
Second.
Motion by Danny, seconded by Kelley to deny. Location number 3. All those in favor of that, please raise your right hand. All those opposed? 3-1. The motion to deny carries. We will move on to number 4.
I move we deny.
We have a motion from Danny to deny. A second from Doug. On property number 4, which is at the southwest or southeast corner of Blue Lake Road and 205. All those in favor, please signify by raising your right hand. All those opposed, and 1 abstention. So that one also is denied. All right, that concludes 25 W variance 25. So, and old business. So, moving on to new business. The next item up is 26 W variance 1. Michael Mast, 5900 and a half Center Street. Current zoning is Lake Residential. The petitioner, owner of the subject property, is requesting a development standards variance of required setbacks for construction of a new dwelling. The property is located at 5900 and 1/2 North Center Street in Section 12 of Thorn Creek Township. Staff, if you'll report, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Going to slides here. So as you mentioned, this is 5900 and a half North Center Street in Tri-Lake, Zoned LR, Lake Residential, just under 2,500 square foot lot. So it's, even for a lake lot, it's a little on the small side. Is lot 14 of Cedar Beach, which was platted in 1926. What is being proposed is to remove the existing dwelling in order to construct a larger 28 by 36 foot 2-story residence. The expanded footprint would be expanded over what it is now, shifted northward from the existing location. You can see there in the table and in the written staff report table the proposed and existing setbacks and the requested variances. Notably, as I mentioned, shifting this northward from the south side, the existing home is at 3.5 feet, a little over 3.5 feet from the property line. What is being proposed is to shift it another half foot farther north, give or take. Still would not bring it to the code minimum of 5 feet, so we do have a variance there. The lakeside frontage, front setback, does have an average. Averaging does apply to that, but it is not sufficient enough to make the proposed setback compliant. Proposed setback is approximately 20 feet. The average setback is 22.9, excuse me. And the other setbacks are also in need of variance. Aerial view here, outlined in blue, is the subject property. Closer view, this does have a small strip that a previous, I believe it was a previous landowner, had acquired in order to allow for some extra breathing room up there. Oblique view, for further reference, the current situation, the petitioner has a outdoor parking area here. That would be approximately where the new attached garage would go. The Cedar Beach plat, again, as I mentioned, lot 14, the subject lot, and lot 15 to the north are among the smallest lots in the Tri-Lakes area, by my recollection. And here is the plot plan, which you should have copies of in yours written version. Highlighted in blue is the proposed setback to the new home, and in gray is the existing home as it is now. So you can see shifting this slightly north, larger home gets closer to the north line. As I mentioned, the attached garage lines up with the existing stone drive location, and everything is also slightly shifted. The front setback is slightly shifted to the west, and then the increased footprint is closer to the west than the existing home. Overlaid on top of the aerial, again for additional reference. Going to the review criteria, staff doesn't feel that this would be particularly injurious to public health, safety, morals. Safety, of course, is always a bit of an issue when you start decreasing side setbacks. Being a lake area, that margin is known, and this, while it is less than what we typically want to see at that 5 feet, that's why we have it in the code as a side setback. This is still a fairly minimal encroachment, and it actually does increase the amount of conformity on the south side than it is right now. Use and value, overall, this would be very comparable to many other homes in the area. Unlikely that this would compromise the value. Use doesn't seem to impact the accessibility around adjacent properties. However, adjacent property owners may have further things to say on that matter. And finally, strict application resulting in practical difficulties. As you know, with lake lots being historic lots, and particularly this lot, which was platted very small to begin with, have some inherent practical difficulties from that from the start as you apply modern construction materials, modern standards to them. Again, this is trying to minimize variances, bringing the lakeside setback more into compliance, the south existing setback more into compliance, but there is still only so much give and take that can occur. One could say that he could narrow the house by about 2 feet, a little less than 2 feet, to make at least the side setbacks compliant. But again, in doing that, there's probably going to be some push, give and take, and you wind up encroaching more into either the rear or front setbacks. So again, leave that up to you to find the right balance, but I believe that is what is in play here. So any questions for me?
Nathan, I know I've asked this before and you said that the budget didn't allow it, but is there any plans this year to address the comprehensive plan point about addressing the number of variances around the lake areas?
So the detailed plan, we might consider, while not doing the detailed plan because that is a budget thing, we do have some miscellaneous changes already slated, and so making some code changes to address some of these variances could be in the works, so we could discuss that further. And if you feel that potentially reducing or having optional side setbacks, those are typically the largest number of lake variances we see, that could be something we could look at.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions, Nathan? Thank you, Nathan. Would the petitioner or representative of the petitioner please come forward, state your name and address, and tell us what it is you want to do with your variance, please.
Hello, my name is Michael Mast. Currently, it's my second home, and it's at 59.5 North Center Street. But I would like to make that my main address and my retirement home. And the condition that the house is in now, it's old. There's not a good foundation to work with. The roof is now leaking. The floors are like a roller coaster. And for me to it didn't make any sense to put any money into it the way it is. And then I went and spoke to Brent to see what it is I could do. Me and my builder, I'm not going to do it myself. J&K Construction is going to do it. But when we looked, if we would just look at by code of what I could do based on the plot, I could only build, the new property could only be a 33 by 5 house. So that's where we're at. I tried my best to come up with something that's comfortable, that we could work with the space that I have without intruding too much or going one way or the other is what I'm looking at here. So let me see.
Your new structure actually is a little further away from the neighbors on the one side. Isn't
Yes,
it? So that's,
it's like a half a foot, I
Yeah.
think, or something like that. Not much, but yeah, it is. And then the other direction, I mean, if I had to come another foot, I could do that too, to make that variance, which would be the north side. It would just cut back on the garage a little bit, but.
Is this a two-story dwelling?
It will be, yes. And then as far as the lake variance, it's closer than what it should be, but it's no closer than what it is now. I'm not asking to go any closer to the lake. And then the kick out that you see here, the one side that I'm asking to go a little bit closer to the road, which I don't know if you're familiar with it. It's not really a Center Street road. It's an alleyway or a driveway or whatever that you come down to. And I just want to come that direction a little bit to give me some more square footage. And as far as I know it's closer to the road, but there's currently the former owner put in a foundation wall that's there that I'd like to build on. And so it's no closer than that. And as far as that road goes, I mean, I could park sideways. There's a little shed there now that'll be removed, and it didn't impede the traffic at all. So even with the new house, it's still, was a car width away from that little alleyway or driveway. So I don't feel like that would be that obstructive, if that makes any sense.
It appears there's other structures along that road that are even closer to the road as well.
Many.
I have if you want to see it, I have the building plans available here. If you want me to put it on the screen, assuming I can get it there. These are a little slow. Come on, Bessie. So this would be, of course, the house elevations, the attached garage, and this would be the north side here and north side here.
And if I'm correct, Center Street is actually somewhat elevated, and that little side road actually goes down.
That is correct.
There.
Yeah, yeah.
Any other questions for the petitioner? Seeing none, thank you very much.
Thank you.
We will open up the floor now for the public hearing for anybody who wants to speak for or against, or who has questions for the petitioner. You may come to the podium, state your name and address.
Yes, I'm Philip Anger, and I live at 5900 North Center Street. And yes, I have some questions, and I think some have been answered, or partially. The distance between the property line runs between my house. I'm on the south side. And we're 6 feet at the front of his proposal of his house. That's a lakeside between our houses, and the line runs almost down the middle. He shows he's got like the front 4 feet 5 inches, and mine is 34 inches from the front of the house now to my house. So that's, and the line, like I say, runs down there on the back side, and that's it's an access road that supplies, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 houses that are there. 2, 3, 4, 5. Take it back. There's 5, and it is a drop from North Center Street of about 7 feet, and then access road services all of us 5. Goes down, and it comes up at either end. Just so you know. And at the back side, that would be the access road side where he's proposing his house. He has 4 feet 2 inches there to the property line. And where my house, the corner of my house, which is back farther, like I say, that is about 5 feet difference between our houses. So the front's 6, the back is roughly 5. And my question is, I know Mike had said that they're moving the south side of the house next to me, the new building. He's going to move it 6 inches. Well, that's not, I guess it's still not within the code. It's supposed to be 5 feet. And it's, still wouldn't move it. It would be still shy of that. And, and I just wondered, my question is, what do you go by? You go by the code, or do you go by, the old?
Well, up at the lakes, and Nathan, correct me if I say anything wrong, please. We see these variances all the time. And I know there's been some variances where we've had less than 2 feet between houses. And that was on Stovall, if I'm right. And it's just a congested area. Everybody wants to live at the lake.
Okay. Yeah.
But far be it from me. I am not a lake person. I like somebody a quarter or a mile away.
Right.
But we see these variances all along. Nathan, do you have anything that you'd like to expound on with that?
No, I think you covered it. It's the nature of a variance. That's why the board exists, to look at each case individually, evaluate the merits of a request. While you are correct, the code is law. It is a law that is intended to have some flexibility, and the board is where that flexibility comes from, with basis.
I guess on that question, he said he would be willing to at least move it a foot, but it's still, still going to be inches shy on the south side next to me.
And that's up to the board's discretion when we take that into consideration.
Or he can move it closer to the north side,
So
because he's got 4 feet 1 inch on the access road side, and he's got 4 feet 8 inches on the lake side where his garage is going to be from the line. So you're asking for a variance there too. Plus, he's asking for a variance on 3 sides. The access road also. He's asking actually for 3 variances.
Where did you say you live? You live on the south side, not the north side?
Yes.
How far is your property? How far is your house from the property line? This paper says 1.2 feet.
No, that isn't right. I just measured it. It's, like I said, it's the front.
I'm just going what the surveyor's got here. That's all I'm going by. It says 1.2 feet
from the property line.
from the property line. Your house.
It's not the building.
There's a chimney over there that's 1 foot 2 inches from the property line. There's a chimney, a block chimney that is. But back here, at the access road side, where you can see where my house is, I got from my house to the property line, because there's like a sidewalk or whatever in between our houses. And then, like I say, there, he goes down to 4.2 inches to the property line on the roads, on the access road, and he's 4.5. There, it's probably, it's 40 to 42 inches right there where my corner of the house is.
Okay.
Where they showing 1.5 feet. My house has got a chimney off to the side, on this side of the house.
Okay.
And I measured that to the property line, because the south side of that sidewalk is the line from from the lake, and then if you go straight all the way to the road, that's where it is. But my house is in the back. It's closer to the access road side. It's 26 inches to the property line. They're showing that 1.5 feet.
Is the blue the actual surveyed?
Blue is what the GIS has, so that has a margin of error. So don't rely on the blue on that photo.
How long have you lived in your house?
I bought in 95, fall of 95. And I live there as a full-time.
The distance they were apart now is the same distance they were when you bought it.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
To give you
a few inches is going to make how much difference?
Pardon?
A few inches is going to make what difference?
It'll be farther if, let's say, his house catches fire or my house catches fire. Both houses are going to burn.
You had a problem when you bought it.
Sir, that goes with the building codes, and anything that is closer, according to code, this goes for your house and for his house. It's supposed to be double-sided there. If I'm right, 2 pieces of plywood.
This was a long time ago.
Of plywood, because his will be legal conforming now, but yours
If
is
he-
legal or non-legal conforming at this time since it was older.
This was
So-
all part of one property at one time. And they divided that little house off.
Mm-hmm.
That's what
But
I got.
what he's
from-
building now will be
Yes.
up to the present code as
Yeah.
it is now. He will have to put in a double fire rated wall on that part.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
And
I didn't know that.
And if you would do any updates or remodeling, you would also have to install a double fire rated
Well, I
wall.
can't go his side
So-
anymore because
But-
I'm only, like I say, anywhere from 5 feet to 6 feet is where a house is.
All right.
What about him moving to the north side now? That's all, it's an open lot for the next owner. On the north side of him, see all that grass area? Why couldn't he just go a little bit closer there? Because he needs a variance there too, because that's not 5 feet. It's 4'8" and 4'1", 4 foot 1 inch, 4 foot 8. Why couldn't he just shift it closer there and give the then he can have his same size house?
I will let him answer those questions.
Okay.
So if you would like to have a seat.
Okay. Oh, I got more questions.
So are you first I want to get to this point. Are you speaking for or against this this variance?
I guess
When it all comes down, are you
I'm
speaking
just needing
for or
information.
against?
Yeah, I guess I'm against, because there's 3 variances he's asking for on, see the access road right there. I know, and he's using he's coming back, which is, I'm not, saying about in the back. He said he's going to take his shed down, take that off, but that's only 4 feet 7 inches from the road. And there. And he's asking for the variance on the north side to go closer, because that's only 4'1" to 4'8". And on mine, it's like, between the houses, it's only,
It says 13 here on our paper. From your house to the property line now. Which
We
to
need my house too.
which to remind
yeah,
you.
that's all my property.
Mhm.
And it actually, my line, it's showing it there. It comes up it angles up. Because the North Center Street used to be old 102. And like I say, they raised it all up in the way back in the 20s, and my house is 38 when that was built. So mine actually angles, and it's up. See where my neighbor to the south of me, it comes right up there. There's a telephone pole, and to the road side of the telephone pole is where the stake is, so it angles up there. But I'm not saying about my side. I'm just asking,
Okay.
if he shifts it, and if he
Well,
does a double firewall, that's fine. And why not get equal variances on each side? Why have 4 feet 1 or 4 feet 8 on the north side, and to the property line, it's only showing 4 foot to the property line between our houses on the south side.
And I believe, as he stated, he's trying to make it as symmetrical on the lot as he can at this time. And as Nathan said,
Yeah,
that there has been some give and take on it, and it's
I'm not against him building it. He's tearing it all down, so it's going to be new footers. But he wants to use the back retaining wall. Actually it's a retaining wall, and it goes on 2 sides of his house. It also goes down the north side of his house, and it says right there, retaining wall.
mhm.
But that
See that.
he's not going to use. He's just going to use part of it where it cuts back to the garage. You see what I'm saying? And like I say, the front of his garage is a single car garage, 14 feet. That's whatever. The distance from the garage then to the property line it says right there 7.4. I know up at the lake, parking is always a problem for everybody. If he parks in front of his garage, and that's if he's almost touching the garage, then he's into the access road.
And I believe that's
And
why he
parking.
wants to put the garage in, is so he can park in the garage, so he's not have to park.
What are you going to do when
Closer
you
to
got
this.
company, 2 cars?
So-
Somebody comes where if he removes this shed, that shed is only 4.6 from his new house on the access road to the property line. That at 4.7 is not enough to park. Really, it's not enough to park the car sideways. I can, and he might, if he parks one in the garage, he can get one sideways in that 7.4. But if he comes straight in and parks 2 cars there, the back end, whether it's a truck, it's longer yet. A vehicle is a little bit shorter. Then it hangs over the property line in the access road that services all 5 of us.
Are those all your questions at this time? You please, we need to wrap this up. We have other business to get to.
Okay.
And
I will.
I will have Mr. Mast come to the podium and address your questions then. So
Okay.
please,
And he's leaving the deck. He's leaving the deck where it is, or are you removing part of the deck?
we will find that out. He will answer that question.
Okay.
So,
I just thinking about just shifting the whole thing, but I like the firewall. I like that, or whatever. I just think 5 feet or 6 feet, it's still a little close.
all right.
Going with new. Okay.
Thank you.
May have other.
Mr. Mast, would you like to come and address these questions, please?
I'm not sure where he's seeing the offsets or the differences in the variances from one side to the other.
I see it on.
according to what Brett gave me here, the proposed, variance is only 4 foot 1 inch on one side and 4 foot 2 inches on the other side. And as far as parking, and correct me if I'm wrong, I've always been very respectful. Never, can I say never? No. But I always made it short. I wouldn't park long ways in front of my garage and block that. That's not an issue, okay? And if you look, if he's concerned about that, if you look at that picture where he parks his car every day is where he doesn't want me to park mine. Like his truck is right in front of his house sideways, and then his other car is in his driveway that comes off the back of his garage that he doesn't want me to do. That's just the point I'm making there. I'm not gonna obstruct that passageway by any way that I park. Okay. And then we talked about, you know, when I said shift the 1 foot, I meant to the other direction, which would be what? What is that?
North.
On the north side? The north side I could come back, but I can't come back a foot his way based on the drawing and where the symmetry of the house. I mean, I thought I was doing a favor kind of moving a little bit further away from him. I mean, he's had that house sit there for however many years it's been, and there hasn't been an issue. I've never had an issue with him. We've always got along great. I don't know what the big deal is about another foot, but I mean that's up for you guys to discuss and decide. But I don't know. Did I address everything? I'm nervous. Is there anything that
Are you gonna keep the deck?
What's that?
Are you gonna keep the deck?
I am going to keep
Okay, thank you. I just knew that was a question. I
Yeah.
just wanted to make sure it was public
it. I would
record.
like to.
Sure.
Okay. Well, as I will remind everybody, since this is at the lake, your front yard is actually considered the lake side, correct,
Okay.
Nathan? So your backyard is actually the road side, which is a less footage to that. So I want to remind everybody of that. So, okay, Michael, you can have a seat. And that, one more question, and then we're moving on with our business. Please come to the podium.
Okay.
Where if you show that other colored map, whatever, where I park my truck sideways, parallel with my house, is inside my property line. And then in front of my garage, which is, can I point?
It would be better if you pointed over there rather than the screen.
Oh, okay. That's my truck. That's inside the property line. And so I got plenty, and behind this is the sidewalk that goes around. This is my garage over here. And the property line comes up, and there's a pole, telephone pole, about right here. Let me see, right there. And actually, it comes from here and it angles to there. So I'm in front of my garage, and then the access road. I went around with this house 8 years ago when they built this whole section out, and he parked right on North Center Street. They're supposed to be in the garage, but it isn't. But I'm saying my property line actually angles to right there. So my cars are, in, but that's a big access coming here. And he parks there, so and he's got blocks going out to the road, but that's immaterial. I'm just saying 4.6 is not enough to park there without it being in the access road because it cuts it. And I know Mike just has it. He's parked, 2 cars in between here before the garage, but as long as he gets it in, I don't have a problem with it. It's the truck. because here's that retaining wall that he's using in the back as part of his foundation for the new house. So that's, and his garage is offset back. It's gonna be back about right here, so that truck is gonna be out in the heat. Car will fit in. You know, as long, because in the winter, he's gonna live there too, in the winter. We have to, snow plow or, four-wheel with a blade does that. And if there's another house on this side and it comes up to the road here.
All right, thank you, sir. Thank you very much. We are going to move along with our business at this time. Is there anybody else here to speak for or against? Seeing no one, we will bring it back to the board. All right, first things first, this is an access road. This is not a county maintained road. It is a private road. The public hearing has been closed, sir.
For what it's worth, I didn't realize this, but the 1926 plat actually shows that on the plat, which is somewhat unusual. Most of these access roads have just developed over time, but plat actually shows the highway and the what is now the access road. So, yes, fun fact.
Okay. So, all right, board.
I move we approve 26W Variance 1, Michael Mast, for developmental standards variance for the required setbacks for construction of a new dwelling.
Second.
Doug has seconded. Kelly has made the motion. All those in favor of granting 26W Variance 1, please signify by raising your right hand. All those opposed? The variance passes unanimously. Thank you very much. So, moving on to our next piece of business. 26W Special Exception 1, Thrills RV. $3,600 West East Lincolnway. Property is currently zoned general commercial. Petitioner, owner of the property, is requesting a special exception approval for RV sales, service, and storage use on the property located at 3600 East Lincolnway in Section 17 of Union Township. The property is currently unimproved. A developmental plan was approved for the site in December. Staff, your report, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Going to these slides, as you mentioned, this is at 3600 East Lincolnway, Zone GC General Commercial. General Commercial requires operations for the business to be inside a building. Otherwise, outdoor storage may be approved by special exception. I will say that with car lots, and in this case RV lots, it's kind of a gray area because it's somewhat inherent in the use, but we do have plenty of examples of vehicle dealerships that are all enclosed, so that's why we tend to err on the idea of this being outdoor display, outdoor storage. Gives the opportunity for review of buffering and lighting and other things that come with outdoor storage to be reviewed. So that's why we're here tonight. This is somewhat similar to the outdoor storage case that we had in December or November for Triad. Other than that was industrial. This, of course, is commercial. going to reference materials, and we also did have a sign variance for this, I believe in November as well. So you have seen this property recently. Highlighted in blue is the subject property, closer view. To the west is a car dealership. South is US 30, north is Lincolnway itself. And to the northeast is 1, 2, 3 residential properties with homes on them. This is the as approved development plan. So I'm just going to zoom in a little bit here. So the main service structure is located near Lincolnway with one driveway access off that, paved parking around the building. Much of the storage lot, most of the storage lot is gravel, which is consistent with our previously interpreted parts of the code. Required parking needs to be paved. Storage lots can be gravel, so that is consistent with this. They do have lighting in those strips running parallel to US 30. However, no lighting is to the north and east up there nearest the homes. So little closer view, this is the area. They do have proposed buffer screening in this area where it is adjacent to that residence. It would go down to where they finish development, and that would be all we would normally require for industrial buffering. As you know, commercial does not have a buffering requirement other than additional setback. Industrial does have landscaping and so on required, so applying it in the same fashion. And then finally, they do have a future building site that was part of the overall approval. So if and when that goes in, that would reduce some of the outdoor storage area as well. Staff's suggested conditions are related to addressing some of the concerns. Number 1 and 2 are pretty standard. Number 3 is just specifying that the screening that is somewhat left open-ended on the plan, giving some detail to that it would be 6 foot in height, could be comprised of an opaque fence, landscaping, mounding, or some combination thereof. Definitely leaving the details somewhat open-ended in order to allow for both the petitioner and the adjacent neighbors to come up with a combination that works well for them. Number 4 deals with lighting, and that is a standard condition, but it is a little bit more important here because you could have some glare on US 30 as well as glare or light spillage onto those adjacent residential areas if the lighting isn't well addressed. 5 is a statement that as I already mentioned, that the gravel drives and storage areas are permissible as per previous interpretations. Number 6 is the standard condition regarding actually no additional outdoor storage would be permitted without additional approval. And then second part of that is no dumpster would be any dumpster would be enclosed within a big screen. That is the standard condition. And then finally, number 7, I offer up the potential condition regarding hours of operation. If you feel that noise, vehicle noise associated with storage use may be impactful to the residents. I don't know if there are any adjacent residents here. I think that would be the best determination of that. But again, I offer that up. We have discussed that in various cases before. Sometimes it's important, sometimes it's not. So going to the review criteria, generally speaking, the overall site is very consistent with other businesses in the area, both existing RV sales as well as the car dealership. This would be a continuation of that. However, in order to allow for a little bit better harmony between the two uses and between the residential and commercial uses, some landscaping or other buffering is definitely being looked at. The other components staff feels that these criteria would be met. Any questions for me?
Is there anything, and I know it's not in the ordinance, that addresses fluid spillage onto gravel and remediation requirements?
So that is covered in either I believe that's covered in the environmental performance standards, not the general performance standards.
Okay.
So yes, in a roundabout way, would we typically enforce that? No. We would enforce it if it becomes a level in which the use itself is so much involved in that contamination, I guess. But simple drippage from vehicles and so on, we can't really regulate that. But if it becomes extensive enough, then yes, the zoning code does have a provision in it.
Thank you.
Any other questions of Nathan? Nathan, thank you very much. So, would the petitioner or a representative of please come forward and state what you would like to do with this special exception? Please give your name and address too, please.
So Jared Hostetler with Thrills RV at 3600 East Lincolnway. So what we were thinking is where it comes around there where we butt up against residential, we're not a big fan of fences. Like, I think fences look bad. So what we're actually looking for is to be able to put shrubs that are 6 feet tall along that the boundary where it goes to the residential to give it a nice look.
So shrubs that maintain their foliage year round.
Yeah, like a green 6 foot by 3 foot.
Evergreen.
Yeah, that type of thing. Not an evergreen tree, but like the shrubs. I don't know what they're called.
And you'd make provisions to maintain those.
Yes.
Of course.
Yeah. Yeah, we want it to look good. And the way the property is, you know how we have it in 2 separate sections. So a property goes, I don't know how many feet that is, but let's say it's another 500 feet over to where the third property, residential property would be. There's already a whole row of big trees right there. So that wouldn't really be an issue. And then the second property, we would like to stop at before her property line because we let her plant a garden. And that's important to her. And so it would just be, if we went all the way to the end, she'd have to walk through the brushes to get to her garden that she does on our property. But I don't think that's an issue. But kind of, it looks like right behind the big pole building there, right in the middle of that is kind of where we would stop based on our current approvals. And then also, I don't know if you saw in relation to the lighting, the whole way across the front of the property up against 30 is a pond. So we wouldn't have lights right up on 30 anyhow, because I don't know, it's probably maybe 80 feet from the property line. The pond is 80 feet wide by 500 feet or whatever. It's 3/4 of an acre or an acre. So our lights would be on the north side of the pond. And then we're not trying to make it look like a car dealership, you know, where you have the really bright LEDs. Obviously, we do want some lights for security, but we're not trying to make it so that it all stands out. And we're not doing, as of this time, an LED sign up along 30 where we have the sign permit. So we're not trying to make it look like, you know, like City Ford, City Chevy, you can see it from all over. We're not trying to do that. But we do want some lights, obviously, for safety.
So you would have sales there on your property. If I'm correct, you're located just on to the west a little bit now.
Yep. So
Correct.
it's Bart's Cars, Blue Compass, and then us right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we would move that all down.
Okay. So you'd have more space.
We're on 2 acres right now.
Yeah.
And then this is 12. So we actually rent the property across to the north of Lincolnway also for storage. where, I don't know if you know Ron Sleeper, but he had that property on the north side of Lincolnway, right across from Blue Compass, when he owned it. We rent that 5 acres also for overflow right now.
Any other questions, board, of the petitioner?
So the pond is for stormwater runoff?
Correct.
Okay.
That was part of the requirement for the whole property layout. Was that?
And I'm assuming, Nathan, that there are, from an NPDES perspective, there are no permits that are required for this small of a business.
Well, that's going to be up to them to determine, but I would not expect that for the type of business.
Okay.
And then if you're relating that back to the stormwater, that's covered under Indiana's erosion control laws. Used to be Rule 5. I think it's now a different rule, but Rule 5.
Thank you.
Seeing nothing else,
Thank you.
go ahead and have a seat. So, is there anybody here to speak for or against this proposal, or that has questions for it? Seeing none, we'll bring it back to the board. This is a special exception, so it will require a motion and a second. So, is there any discussion between the board on this?
I move we approve 26 WSC 1 with the suggested conditions.
Second.
For a matter of clarification, suggested condition number 7 deals with hours of operation. Do you want to strike that off? Or do you want to entertain that more?
I guess.
I think we can strike it.
Okay.
Okay, we have a motion by Doug, a second by Kim for approval with the suggested conditions, which is number 1, the special exception is granted as presented and per the submitted site plan. Number 2, the special exception is limited to the petitioner and is not transferable without additional board approval. Number 3, 6-foot screening to provide and maintain between the subject property and adjacent residential properties, such as screening may be opaque, landscaping, mounding, or a combination. Number 4, all exterior lighting is to be directed to the interior of the property. Any lighting on the property shall be oriented and or shielded to prevent light spillage in excess of 0.5 foot candle on adjacent residential areas and any glare on adjacent residential areas and public right-of-ways. Number 5, the proposed gravel access drives and storage areas are permissible. This does not include lots for the required parking. Number 6, no additional outdoor storage is permitted without additional approval. Any dumpster will be enclosed within an opaque screen. And number 7 was scratched. So, all those in favor of approval with the conditions, please signify by raising your right hand. All those opposed, it is approved 5-0. Thank you very much. Okay, moving on to our last piece of new business, as I have on my agenda, is 26 WSE 2. It's a special exception by, please bear with me, Andre and Maxine Stovall. Okay. The current zoning is AG. The petitioner, owner of the subject property, is requesting a special exception approval for a secondary dwelling unit on the property located at 10865 South 700 East in section 36 of Jefferson Township. The property is currently improved with a house and outbuildings. Staff, your report, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As you said, this is located at 10865 South 700 East, almost in the far southeast corner of the county. Zoned AG agricultural, just over 25 total acres. Request tonight is for a secondary dwelling unit, specifically to construct a pole barn, which would be permanently for storage and recreational usage now, however, would also include a potential living area that would be used for family in the future. Long term, either the living area would be removed, or being a 25-acre property, they could split the property either by, I don't know if they would qualify for a survey-only split, but definitely they still have enough acreage that they could do it by platting if necessary in the future. Going to the reference materials, highlighted in blue is the subject site. Along the south edge is State Road 114. This is US 24. Closer view, as well as the site plan here outlined in red, is the location of the proposed pole building. I don't believe that is to scale in terms of a rectangle showing the size of the pole building. I believe that's just showing the location of it. And then 700 East is over here on the west side. Staff suggested conditions. This is a pretty straightforward request. This because of the size of the property, this proposal would be largely invisible from definitely the road and even adjacent properties. So it just boils down to the standard conditions that we request of any secondary dwelling unit listed there on the screen. Any questions for me?
Seeing none, thank you, Nathan. Would the petitioner please come forward and state your name and address and let us know what you want to do with your special exception.
Okay, Andre Stovall, 10865 South 700 East, Roanoke. Yeah, I've wanted to build a pole barn. I'm going to be retiring in a couple years. I hate going all the way back into the house to go to the bathroom, so I wanted to have an actual bathroom and plumbing and everything in the pole barn. I also like to grill, so I want to be able to do briskets and stuff out there. Anyway, we also have family parties maybe once or twice a year. We'll have 15, 20 people sleep over, and this would just be extra space that they could sleep in if they happen to come over. I've got it all graded, but I haven't built anything. Don't have any, engineering plans yet because I still have to get quotes for pole versus steel. But it's probably gonna be a steel building. Hoping to build it this spring. That's pretty much it. Oh, not gonna rent it out. This just for personal use, family use.
So a multifunctional man cave.
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, 15 by 20 room for the, the fridge and, freezer and stuff. Like, so I can buy actually a side of beef and not take up the main freezer in the house and stuff like that.
All right. Questions, board, of the petitioner? Seeing none, thank you very much. We will open the public hearing. Does anybody speak for or against or has questions? Seeing nobody, we will close the public hearing and move on. This is a special exception. After we have discussion, if there is any, we will need a motion in a second. So,
I move we approve 26 WSE 2 special exception for Andre and Maxine Stovall for a secondary dwelling unit on their property in Jefferson Township.
Second.
Kelly's made the motion. Danny has seconded.
This
to-
is with the suggested.
with the-
Yeah, I'm sorry, thank you, Kim. With the 3 suggested conditions as listed.
Yep. Number 1 being, they're pretty standard, special exception is granted as presented. Number 2, compliance with the recommendations of the health department. Number 3, any addition to the requirements in the zoning code definition of secondary dwelling unit. The dwelling shall not be used as a non-income producing rental unit. So, all those in favor of approving with the conditions, signify by raising your right hand. All those opposed, it passes unanimously. Thank you very much. Sorry to keep you waiting. All right, that finishes our new business. Is there any other business before us?
Not that I am aware of. Brent, did you have anything? The only thing I might mention, as well, I already mentioned it once with Kelley's comments about the variances. The Plan Commission, we are going to do, or at least consider doing a few clarifications and so on, some of which originated here last year, some of which may be forthcoming from, there's a couple pieces of legislation that if they get passed, we will need to update our zoning codes, so we'll see how that shapes up. So if you think of anything, feel free to shoot us an email with, hey, this might be nice to change, it would have helped this case or that case, whatever. I'd be glad to look at trying to incorporate it into that discussion as the year goes on.
The one I found interesting, I forget what the number was, but it was the one that's taking place up in South Bend about secondary dwelling units and them not being family.
That would be the big dog, HB 1001. It makes accessory dwelling units permitted uses anywhere you allow single family dwellings, and then it makes single family dwellings and 2-family dwellings permitted uses anywhere that you have residential. Residential zoning, unfortunately, doesn't clarify what residential zoning means, because some places have R1, R2, 3 districts, city, for example, but we don't. We have rural residential, RR. We have lake residential. Those are definitely residential, but multifamily residential we also have, and manufactured home park. Those also are residential districts. And the ag district, we allow residential uses in the ag district. So does that qualify under this bill to be residential? And if so, that could have some pretty drastic effects with us. And we're not the only ones that would be impacted. It does a whole bunch more beyond that. Those are actually kind of some of the better points of what it is doing. It's one of those things that has really great intentions at the core, but layered on top of that, it feels like it's trying to do too much, and especially at a state level. What's important to try and regulate around Indianapolis, regulate the municipalities around Indy, doesn't really apply to Northeast Indiana. We have far different conditions, government-wise, ground-wise, and so on, than Central Indiana, than Southern Indiana, than region. So it really feels like if they don't change quite a few different pieces of that bill to address statewide concerns, either it'll die or we will have to make some pretty heavy-duty changes to accommodate the bill. And it is currently slated for emergency, so it will go into effect upon passage, if not even retroactively.
It passed the House today.
It passed, yeah, as expected, it passed the House today. I don't think with any amendments, correct?
It had 2 amendments, but nothing.
Those
that I
were from
think
committee.
affects- Yeah.
Everybody expects the Senate to really dig into it and make a lot of those changes. Both I and the commissioners and the mayor have been talking with representatives, giving them feedback. We're not the only ones. So sorry to go off on a tangent, but that is just very big. It's the largest land use bill we've had come through in more than a decade, as I recall.
Does it address the income producing aspect of this?
Basically, it would, as written, our secondary dwelling unit would just become moot. It would say that accessory dwelling units, and there are some standards as to what qualifies as accessory dwelling unit, maximum size and so on, but they're just allowed for any purpose. No family requirements, no professional requirements. It can be just a rental unit. The main house can be a rental unit. The accessory dwelling unit can be a rental unit. Main house can be 2 family and an accessory dwelling unit, which is okay in, again, some areas, particularly urban areas. I find that personally quite favorable in an urban area. But think of our lake areas, how the bill would wind up putting potentially 3 dwelling units on what was a cottage lot. Then you guys as the board would be coming back and saying, seeing a lot of development standards variances because people want to put those 3 permitted uses, 3 units as permitted uses onto a lot that was originally designed for cottage. Again, the core of it, good intentions. Right now, it's, in my opinion, not in a good place. It definitely needs work. And there's a couple other bills too, but that definitely is a good job. Sorry to digress.
Okay. Thank you. Anything else from the members of that? So, if not, we will adjourn the meeting. Our next meeting will be February 24th of this year at 7 p.m. And hopefully I don't have to push stove for 12 hours.